This isn't a story about declared enemies. It's about the brutal, hidden reality of allies fighting each other in the chaos of war. In 1941, the Soviet Union and the United States became partners against Nazi Germany. On paper, they were allies. In reality, their cooperation was a fragile, fragmented mess. They had separate command structures, limited communication, and a deep-seated, simmering mistrust. The first lethal encounters happened in the freezing skies of the Arctic. American and British convoys, loaded with vital supplies like aircraft, tanks, and fuel, sailed for Soviet ports. These were some of the most dangerous waters in the world. German attacks were relentless, but another threat lurked. Soviet air defense units were aggressive, and their identification systems were primitive. During these desperate convoy runs, Soviet forces repeatedly fired upon Allied aircraft. Some planes were damaged. Some crew members were killed. Officially, these were brushed off as navigational confusion. Publicly, there was only silence. As the war pushed into Eastern Europe, the skies became even more crowded and chaotic. Soviet fighters had standing orders to intercept any unidentified aircraft over their territory. American reconnaissance planes, tracking German movements, sometimes strayed into Soviet-controlled airspace. In 1944, near Yugoslavia, this tension exploded. Soviet Yak fighters attacked an American B-17 bomber formation, mistaking them for German planes. The American gunners, under fire, fought back. Both sides suffered losses. Diplomatically, another wall of silence went up. But the most documented clash happened during a mission called Operation Frantic. This was a unique shuttle bombing campaign where American bombers would take off from Italy, hit targets in German territory, and then land at bases in Soviet-held Ukraine. The cooperation was supposed to be a landmark achievement, but it was incredibly fragile. On one mission, a group of Soviet fighters provided a flawed escort for the American bombers. Confusion turned to panic. The Soviet planes opened fire. The American gunners, defending their lives, returned fire. Aircraft were damaged, and crews were injured. The official report, a simple case of miscommunication. The tension wasn't just in the air. On T-ground, American personnel stationed at Soviet airfields were treated like spies. Their movements were restricted, and they were constantly under surveillance. They were denied access to their own equipment at times. This was tactical cooperation, not a cultural partnership. The Soviets were deeply suspicious of American intentions, believing they were gathering intelligence for a future conflict. The Americans, in turn, grew frustrated with Soviet secrecy and questioned their competence. Even as they fought a common enemy, both superpowers were already positioning themselves for the post-war power struggle. Lesser-known incidents even occurred in the Pacific. Soviet submarines sometimes operated aggressively near American naval patrol zones. While these encounters never escalated to open combat, they involved tense maneuvers and sharp warnings. Weapons were locked on, but thankfully, never fired. These clashes weren't just a series of unfortunate accidents. They were symptoms of two incompatible military giants forced into a temporary, uneasy alliance. Each side was already preparing for a future where their current partner would become their primary enemy. When the war finally ended, the alliance dissolved almost overnight. Within months, intelligence agencies officially reclassified their former allies as primary threats. The records of these wartime incidents were sealed, sanitized, or buried for decades. The popular myth of perfect Allied unity during World War II hides this gritty, uncomfortable truth. America and the Soviet Union fought the same enemy, but they were never true friends. They exchanged fire, not out of hatred, but because their entire military and political systems were built on a foundation of mutual suspicion. World War II didn't create the Cold War. It just gave us an early, bloody preview. Thanks for watching. If you found this hidden history fascinating, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories you thought you knew.